The man in the arena. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Theodore Roosevelt. Well, welcome back to another Reality Bites. So, this quote that I just read has been around a while, and maybe you know it, maybe you've heard of it, and if you haven't, well, you've heard it now. But I believe it stands true through time. And I've always loved this quote because it's such a great analogy of life. It got me thinking about how we actually engage in life and how we show up for ourselves. Not just for other people, but for ourselves. And oftentimes we're living a life where we're not actually living a life for ourselves, but we're living a life because we have these expectations that have been placed on ourselves from our upbringing, from our family, from our friends, from society. And we do this. And why do we do this? Because I believe that deep down, we want to succeed. We want to be seen as worthy. And, let's face it, we all measure ourselves against some sort of level of success. Success is valued, it is celebrated in society, whether it's how much money you make, or what job you have, or what status you have, or what you own. It's one of those programs where our value is placed primarily on an external level. And I know this is changing. I know that for the people that do the inner work know this. And I know innately you know the truth that inherently you are worthy on so many levels. You're worthy just for being alive, for being here, for doing your best, for surviving, for getting up each and every day, even if you don't want to. But, where are we holding back, and what are we limiting from ourselves to truly live from a place where we're being truthful to what we really want and desire, without that fear of being judged, without that fear of, I suppose, letting other people down? Because we often say yes to things, we often do things for other people in search of that love, in search of that validation of knowing we are good enough. I think that's at the heart of so much, at least in my experience and the people that I know and my friends. And this is what we talk about a lot, about, how do we measure success? How do we define success? And are we putting all our energy and passion into things that really are not in congruence with what we really want? And, maybe you've had setbacks and losses in the past that made you want to give up. And there's that fear, because the fear of stepping into the arena of life means that you're going to encounter loss and failure and rejection and heartbreak and you can have things that are not going to go your way. And just like that quote, there's that critic. And that the critic is not necessarily the people around you or society or what's reflected back to you. In my experience, you're your own worst critic. I know I am. I'm really hard on myself. And why do we do that? I think we do that because we want to prove ourselves. If you've been told that you're not going to succeed, or your dreams are not valuable, or you'll never make it as an artist, and all these limiting beliefs, then we become our own worst critic. We often go the other way and try to be too perfect, try to create this image of, wow, I've got it all sorted out. Look at me, I've got all the trappings. I'm projecting this image of that I'm successful, but deep down it's like, I'm just human. I've got shortcomings. I'm imperfect. I have worries. I have fears. I have, all this stuff. I've got this, we all have the shadow side. And oftentimes society places so much emphasis on success, on positivity, on being the best you can be, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. But, there's a positive and negative energy in the world, or influences, and there's always the contrasting expression. But it also reminds me of one of my other favorite quotes, actually, which is by Robert Frost, and he said, "Something we were withholding made us weak until we found out it was ourselves." And that always stuck with me, because it's like, yeah, where am I withholding? What aspects of my life am I denying myself? And why am I doing that? Why should I deny myself the things that maybe other people have got and I don't seem to have them? And I think that's a really important question to ask yourself. And, look, it's easier sometimes to sit on the sidelines and to criticize from the sidelines, because then we don't have to face the consequences. We don't have to face the repercussions. We can avoid failure, because it's to stretch, to get out of our comfort zone, to take that shot, to go for what you want. You probably will fail, particularly if it's a big enough challenge or dream. And, it's that sort of high risk, high reward kind of thing. And it really reminds me of an analogy with MMA fighters, or fighters in general, but I'm a big fan of the UFC. And, here we've got two gladiators that step into an arena willing to risk it all in front of millions of people, putting it all on the line. And I know this is the extreme version of that. But what's so compelling about that, is that I know that millions of people are just drawn in general to seeing this, because I think within us there is that innate kind of primal thing where we know that life is hard. We know that life is about survival. And here, this is sort of like the apex, where you've got these high-level athletes that are going into battle and facing their fears and putting it all on the line. And on some level, if we can translate that into our everyday life and world, where we face those fears that pull us out of our comfort zone, then I think that's worthy to go for. And that comes back to the man in the arena, where it's the person, it's the man, it's the woman that steps out there and actually engages in life and is willing to fail again and again if necessary, but still gets back up again and again and again. So how many of us are willing to step into the arena of life, to face our fears, no matter how big or small they may seem. And I know that time and time again in history, we've seen people accomplish great things and defy the odds. And I think that is inspiring. That is part of the human spirit. And, is it better to sit on the sidelines, or is it better to engage in life? Well, I know what my answer is. And I know that failure and the fear of failure and the fear of rejection, no matter where that lies in your barometer of success, can be a challenge and one that is difficult to overcome. But I believe we've got this internal battle going on all the time. As soon as we're in a comfort zone, a part of us knows that. Part of us knows in our soul that we need to challenge ourselves to grow and to evolve. And as I say, it's actually in the daily struggles and challenges of life, whether it's getting that new job or going for another relationship, or whether they're, health battles. It's that desire to keep going. It's that something within us, that human spirit, where we can tap into to just keep going and to keep persevering. I think those are just such great and innate qualities of being human. So, I guess the takeaway, keep this short for this Reality Bites, because it is a Reality Bites episode, is whatever your dream is, whatever you desire, no matter how big or small, for me, it's about perseverance. For me, it's about giving another shot, to not give up on yourself, and to celebrate those little wins. It doesn't always have to be those huge, huge wins that we have to go for. It can be those little small victories that we can have on a daily basis. That means you are stepping in to the arena of life, and you are worthy of it. And it's that old saying, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I hope that is a little bit of food for thought. I hope that stimulates some contemplation on those areas of your life that you can step back into the arena and to go for what you really want and feel like you deserve it, and that you won't look back on life and say, you know what, I could have and I should have, but I didn't. So, I'll leave you with that, guys. And until the next Reality Bites, be well.